Okay, Google, I'm back again with another episode from Felons Talk. First of all, before I say anything else, I did send $30 to a girl in New Orleans on Cash App. She didn't get the money, and when I call Cash App, they say there's no account. There's no account that exists in my name. What? How, you know what? This is the first time I've ever used Cash App. All right, first time. Uh, I don't understand it. I have heard that there's problems with Cash App, but this is insane. Like, how would you not have a? How do you not like? How do you lose my money? I mean, how can you have an app set up that doesn't have? I'm just. It boggles my mind. I was. I would tell you guys out there if you ever I got the money was sent to me on my YouTube channel. I set it up for people, whoever wants to send me money. You can send it through Cash App, Mike Marino 175. And somebody sent me the $30, and I sent it to somebody else, and it's disappeared. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna start this. I'm going to start this whole episode off. But anyways, to begin with, I think I left off yesterday, where I had just gotten 20 years from the state of Arizona, 15 to 20 for an armed robbery. Pled guilty to one count. They dropped the other two, and I was sent back to the feds. The difference is between the feds and the state is that federal government has penitentiaries all over the United States. If you're in a prison, if you're in a state prison system, they transfer you within the state. If you're in the federal prison system, they can transfer you to whatever state they want to that has a federal institution. There's federal institutions all over the United States. Leavenworth's in Kansas. Atlanta is in Atlanta, Georgia. Lompoc is in California. So it's that's how it works. Okay. They sent me to Petersburg, which is kind of like a medium security prison. And I get there and I meet this kid, Mark Mosley. And he just got sent there from Ashland, Kentucky for escape. What he did was him and his kid named Bud Green broke into the what do you call it? Vocational training center, where they worked on cars and stuff, and they stole a car and a truck, and they ran them both through the fence. Right? Got away, but they also, in the process of going through the fence, they screwed up the radiator on the car. So the car ran out of, water very soon. The engine overheated, and that was the end of that. So they got caught about 45 miles away. Okay. Anyway, to make a long story short, they send me to Petersburg, and I meet Mark and a couple other guys, and we plan to do it again right there in Petersburg. Right, we're going to break in, and but we can't really break into the place. The way we got to do it is we have to go in there while it's open, early in the morning when it opens up. We came in. We were armed with knives, and we kind of took over all the vocational training center officers and brought them into one area and made them sit down while we worked on getting the car started. We didn't count on the car not starting, by the way. Okay, one car was way up on a lift, and the other one was this 1969 Plymouth Valiant. The Plymouth Valiant was the one we tried to start, and it wouldn't start. it just kept like it sounded like the engine was flooding. You know, it just kept going. It couldn't start. Right. So our plan was foiled. All right. We were kind of trapped in there. We didn't want to come out. We didn't know what to fucking do. This wasn't part of the plan. You know. But it was sketchy, you know what I mean? It was kind of a sketchy plan to begin with. But anyway, to make a long story short, we did get caught. And at the end of the day, I got 2 4-year sentences, a 3-year sentence, and a 1-year sentence. And for some reason, the 1-year sentence was running concurrent with the other sentences. So I ended up with a total of 11 extra years to run consecutive to the time I had already gotten, which was 25 years, and that made it 36 years. And okay, so now uh, the very same day, as soon as we gave up, they brought us out and put us into 2 different cars, 2 in one car, 2 in another car, and drove us directly to Lewisburg Penitentiary. And I spent the next 18 years in high security prisons such as Leavenworth, uh, Lewisburg, Atlanta, and Marion. And those, before I finally was transferred, and then my points went down, and I was able to go to medium security institutions, which if you've been in a bunch of these maximum security prisons all your life, you know, going to a medium security prison is like getting a parole, man. It's so much easier and uh, smoother, and just you really feel like you just got out of prison instead of just, you know, being transferred to a lower security institution. Anyway, that went on for a while, and then I ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was kind of running wild, man, and I was under the influence of a lot of kind of crazier type of individuals, right? And there was a lot of murders and stuff, and I was more or less I wanted to be considered one of the guys. I wanted to be, you know, I wasn't going to take any shit from anybody. Anybody started anything with me, I was gonna hurt them. And what eventually ended up happening was this guy got into it with my cell partner. Now my cell partner was doing 2 life sentences plus 25 years, and he was a wild guy, and he had killed another inmate about 6 years prior to this, 7 years maybe, 6 7 years in San Quentin. Okay, he was in a state institution doing 5 to life. He killed a guy there. The guy had robbed him. He put a knife to his throat. 2 of them came in, put a knife to his throat, took his money and his drugs. And when he gave him the stuff, and they took off, and then he went looking for him. And he had a piece of a 2x4 from an easel he used to paint. So he had an easel in his cell. Took the 2x4 off the easel, and he went looking for him. He found one of them, and he crushed his head and he killed him, and that was that. Now he got put in the adjustment center in San Quentin, and this was like, I don't know, early 70s, maybe like 71. Yes, and there was no one that would willing to testify against him, and so although he did like get punished by being put into the segregation area, which is what they call the adjustment center, even though he got that, uh, he never he never was indicted or tried for that murder. So what ended up happening was they ended up lowering his points to the point where he was allowed to go to forestry camp. Forestry camp is where you go outside the walls and you fight forest fires in California, which there's a bunch of them, right? And obviously, you know, you have no walls around you anymore. So what he did was he ran, he took off, and he escaped. And he went to Oklahoma, and he held up. Oh my God, he was just, you know, he's a crazy guy like me, and he was pulling holdups all over the place. Eventually, they caught him, and they gave him 2 life sentences. So he's coming back from court after being sentenced, and he's in a small county jail in Oklahoma. And as they're bringing him into the jail, there are lock boxes in the sally port where guards, you know, police officers have to leave their guns in these lock boxes, and before they, because they're not allowed to bring the guns into the actual jail itself. Well, to make a long story short, my co-defendant grabbed a gun and out of the lockbox took over the whole jail, and he released one of his friends, and his friend uh, and he got out of the jail. First thing they do, they go to the stoplight and they carjack some dude, right? And they're going crazy now. They're heading out of state. They're going to Texas, and I think they got to Houston or someplace. And they didn't want to kill this guy because, you know, if I kill somebody unnecessarily, so they got a bottle of liquor and made him drink it. So he was so fucking drunk that he couldn't walk. And apparently, man, he got to the point where he was so drunk he was saying stuff like, "Oh man, you know, you guys aren't so bad. You know, I'll just hang out with you guys. We could pull a bunch of robberies together and stuff." You know, this was how he. You know how he gotten so smashed on the booze that you know, he was ready to become a fucking bank robber. Anyway, one thing leads to another. My co-defendant and his buddy gets caught, and you know, they get sentenced for kidnapping across state lines, and that was like another 25 years consecutive to the 2 life sentences he just got. And then into the federal system he came, right? Anyway, so now he's in the Fed system, and you know, he's a fuck up. You know, he's been a Marion. He's here. He's there. When I met him in Atlanta, he had just come from the control unit in Marion, where for stabbing an inmate in Marion, and this wasn't a homicide. It was just a stabbing. Anyway, he had a big influence on me. You know, I want to be tough like him. You know what I'm saying? And everybody else that was around us. We were getting drunk a lot. You know, we'd have some skirmishes here and there, and one thing led to another. And this guy said that my co-defendant sold him some weed that wasn't really weed, or something. He had adulterated this weed with something else, and he started telling people that, you know, my co-defendant sold him bad weed. So that led to a fist fight, and the next day we were in this B block, which is 6-man cells. One of his cell partners came and told us that he was making a knife in his cell all night long, right? So we decided, like, the best thing to do is to get him before he gets us. And we caught him slipping the next morning, and we went in his cell and we murdered him. And in the course of this homicide, my co-defendant's hand slid down the knife, and because of the, the slickness of all the blood on the knife, it cut his whole finger off. I mean, it was hanging still. It was hanging on his hand, but they had to sew it back on. So from the finger, there was a drop of blood every 8 inches going back to our cell, which was 2 flights up, two tiers above where the murder happened. And that was kind of, it took him right to our doorstep. And he was covered in blood. Fortunately, I wasn't. Okay. I just had a little bit on my sneakers, you know. So they never found the knife, believe it or not. They never found it. If we put it up over a door runner, if you know anything about how Atlanta Penitentiary was in them days, there were runners where the door slides back, right? And there's hundreds of them all over the prison. I mean, if you put a knife up there, how are they going to find it? You know, they can go all around the penitentiary and put their fingers up into every door runner, and they, in that case, they might find it, but they never found this one. Let's put it that way. Anyway, that led to us going back to the Marion Control Unit where I met Tommy Silverstein and all these people that were there. John Greshner was there. By the way, John's not going to be able to come back. I just got a call from somebody because they said that they were watching the show on YouTube, and they don't want him doing shows. I mean, they just don't want him doing it. And for whatever reason, they shut it down. He's not going to have any, he's not going to be able to call anybody or anything like that anymore, and if he tries to continue, they said they'll take his phone list away, period, and he won't ever be able to call anyone ever again. So, sad to say, man. That was a good thing going we had, but it's not going to, it's not going to happen anymore. Sad, man. Sad. But the good news is John may get out in a couple of years. He's still healthy, So we look forward to him coming home. And I'll be keeping in touch with you guys and telling you anything that happens, any new updates, because I still write to him, And yeah, it's too bad. Hope they'll let my letters go through, Anyway, what I want to do is, anyway, make a long story short, I'm a little screwed up today because of the information I just got about John. I just got that call before I did this this video right here, and yeah, it's kind of upsetting. Anyway, like and subscribe, okay? And tomorrow I'll put on another show. I'll finish up telling you, how I ended up completing my sentence. I did a total of 29 and a half years. And I'll tell you some more stories about people and how my life progressed after that murder and all the stuff that happened after that. And also, I still plan to get into the Dixie Mafia shit. I put it off because so many people were asking me, do a show about yourself. Tell us a little more about you and what happened in your life instead of telling us about everybody else. And I went like, yeah, that's something I should do. I don't know why, I haven't thought of that personally, but everybody was making those comments. So, I decided I had to do this first. And I will get to the Dixie Mafia in a day or so. And Yeah, I do know. I do know Richard Montgomery. Somebody asked me, old Texas bank robber. He's quite old now, I would assume. I mean, he's in his upper 70s, I guess. Him and old Sweezy uh, were setting up to rob some banks in Texas, but it never materialized. And that's another story altogether. So I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another edition of Felons Talk. And please hit the like and subscribe buttons, man. Thank you very much. And I'll see you guys again tomorrow.